This article deals with a very beautiful part of Dorset coastline, often called the Jurassic Coast. And it looks at a feature which I'm familiar with, having come from the South Downs area. That is of dry valleys. And the standard geological approach to dry valleys is to have some complex mechanism based over multiple ice ages. But as this particular article points out, geologists realise that this is not going to work because the dry valleys that you see in Dorset and elsewhere don't have the properties that could be created by this glaciation process. And in fact, really the only way you can explain the type of valley systems that we see in Dorset, and I suspect also in Sussex and elsewhere in the south of England, these dry valleys with no rivers in them, is the runoff from the Noah's flood. And it's this consistent fact that when we look at landscape features around the world, we are almost always driven to the fact that uniformitarianism, that is old Earth perspectives, probably are incapable of explaining the feature we're looking at. And in fact, the only way to explain the feature we're looking at, in this case dry valleys, is to look at it from the perspective of the runoff of water from Noah's flood. And once you start looking at landscapes and geology in the context of Noah's flood, it is surprising how many features that are difficult to explain become really quite straightforward. And obviously there's detail, and this is a detailed article, but the essentials are quite easy to understand. That water running off from the flood into the oceans would create all sorts of very interesting geological features which we see around the world today, and one of which would be the dry valleys of Dorset. Well, thank you for listening.